Alright guys, welcome back to the Motorcycle Garage after what feels like a bit of a hiatus. Cut the story short, we're going to do some fiberglass in today. We'll call this the fiberglass episode. I have gone ahead and started to lay up a bit of, I have some shitty tape that I'd used for powder coating, which is just really low quality, but anyway, I've used that to fill in the gaps between my seat rails, and I'm going to try and lay some fiberglass down there. I've been working on my molds to try and make some more bits and pieces, so we're going to be trying to do some fiberglassing today. Easy peasy little jobs, try and get a little bit more motivated. I think I mentioned, anyone that watches my Instagram, struggling a little bit for motivation at the moment, just with this whole changing in lifestyle. It's taking a bit getting used to, and unfortunately the garage seems to be the thing that's slipping in terms of being able to get out and do something, which in reality the garage seems to be the thing that actually helps give me the most enjoyment. So I need to try and change some of my priorities to allow me to get out in here a little bit more. But anyway, I digress. Today we're going to have a look at maybe getting the seat base done, maybe get some of the side panels redone, and yeah, take it from there. So hopefully you enjoy. So first things first, I've made a few seat pans before. I thought this was the best way to make this one. I've got in one of my early episodes I fitted a quick release seat mechanism, so I've got that already attached, and I'll make the seat cover go in the top and then I'll bolt that to it. I did initially think about making it so that the seat catch went through the fiberglass, but it just got a bit messy. I'll think of a better way to work on that. So I think this is the neatest way to do it. So everything will go over and kind of hug this nice and tightly, so that it creates a little crevice for this fiberglass to sit in. So I've coated this with PVA release agent, the stuff that you get with a lot of mold making. So going to let that dry, maybe give it another coat, and then hopefully any fiberglass that I put on top of that should come off quite easily. To give you an update on these molds, I now have two sets of molds. I've been filling, sanding, making sure this has been filled with resin. I've been kind of sanding it down to get away any imperfections. These are two other ones that I printed for the other side that I wasn't very happy with, so these have been filled with body filler. Still a bit of work to get these done and prepped before I shove some resin on top of them. Once I put some resin, I've got a nice smooth material that I can then do the whole shit with the mold making, where I put the mirror glaze PVA finish stuff on it and allow that to be released. So a few things keeping me busy. Might as well just go for an update. It's been a while. I bought some R6 spec brakes to go on here, but obviously these aren't going to fit. Christ, have I got this on the right way? It goes on the other way. Where's the other side? Anyway, they don't fit. They don't fit here, which is fine. I kind of knew that, but weirdly they don't even fit. Even if I want to fit them in, the tolerance here isn't very good. So it's led me down a path as to what am I going to do. Because they don't fit here, I'd like to try and get something that looks pretty OEM. Sometimes you see people fit different brake calipers to bikes, and they do a good job. They fit, they make them work, but they look a bit janky. They've got this big, not all the time, but sometimes they look pretty janky, where you've got this mounting bracket that allows your 2 points to be mounted higher up, and it's kind of a weird looking thing. That it's fine, and it does the job, but for me, I've got the opportunity to actually get some shocks, some retro looking shocks off like an FZR or an old R6 that'll fit on, that'll allow the right spacing. It means that there'll be a bit of work looking at these again, but I guess I've not done very much with these anyway, so if I have to change the design of these slightly to be ever so slightly wider to allow those brakes to fit in nicely and everything to align, then that's absolutely fine. It may be that I have to make a spacer that pulls this brake off from this hub a little bit and pulls it out, because the caliper, I'll show you on this side, the caliper won't actually, the fuck is it? Yeah, the caliper won't actually fit in. Oh Jesus, is that right? That way. Yeah, that's it. The caliper is going to hit off the this bit here, so it needs to actually be pulled out ever so slightly. So the yoke needs to be wider, and spacers in the wheels, disc offset needs to be wider. So it's another thing that just I have to figure out. That's absolutely fine, but it slows these things down a little bit. So that's ticking along in the background. A lot of research on that, not a huge amount of practicalities yet until I find the right forks. Annoyingly, every single goddamn fork you look at is either bent or pitted to hell. So I don't know if anyone's found that on YouTube, on eBay. When you try and find these things, it's like, yeah, I'll sell you these two forks for 80 quid that are pretty much fit for the scrap heap. So anything I do buy is probably going to have to get coated with by those pitted forks dudes. But we'll sort that out, cross that bridge when it comes to it. One last thing. This, I've gone a bit full circle with that. I think I'm going to buy another mudguard to make a mould out of. I really like the idea of making things out of carbon fibre or fiberglass or whatever I decide to use, but this just doesn't fit. I'm trying to make it fit. I'm trying to find a balance point in between when in reality it should hug tighter and it just doesn't work for me in my mind. I think if I can get a slightly smaller steel mudguard, it'll allow me to if I get a slightly smaller steel mudguard, will allow me to make a mould off of that, and it'll get a nicer tighter fitting mudguard. So plenty of bits that are going and then not going. So yeah, we'll get some music on, we'll get some fiberglassing done, and we'll catch up again afterwards. What I might do is I've got to go away for a few days. Just my girlfriend and I are going away in a wee breakaway. So I'll probably get the fiberglass done, laid down, and then I'm probably going to have to leave it and pick this up later on. But that's absolutely fine. So no pressures. Enjoy. See you shortly. It's worth taking the opportunity to discuss. This is fiberglass, chop strand fiberglass mat, kind of what everyone's seen if you go to the hardware store and get some fiberglass. This is like fiberglass cloth, slightly different. It's a lot more pliable. The reason I'm thinking about using this, I initially got it for the side panel so that I can get a nice curve, but you can compare the two of them. They're quite different. Still, I'm pretty sure it's the same function at the end of the day, but it's just a slightly different makeup. So I'm going to do the first layer with the cloth, just to try, first couple of layers probably with the cloth, just to try and get nice and tight over all of these bits here. So fingers crossed, if you're wondering why I'm using different types, it's exactly for that purpose. So let's have a little look, get this time lapse going and see how it looks. Okay, so I mean, the main issue here is this potentially this back bit at the end saggy arse on that bit. So I don't know. In hindsight, it's always 2020. Probably should have used duct tape or something to get really tight across this back bit with some cardboard that would stick. What happened is the cardboard that fell off when the weight of the fiberglass went on it. So we'll try it. We'll let it set, see how it goes. It's kind of pulled. It's kind of pulling up a little bit on one of the extra bits I put on, but we'll see. I tried to cut it off. One of the things you can kind of do is cut off as it starts to go off, but for whatever reason, when I try to cut it, it disrupts everything. So what I'll do is just leave it. I'll let it all set, and I'll sort it all once it's dry. So what I'll do now is spend a bit of time working on sorting these molds out, just getting them a little bit nicer, a little bit smoother. I'll put a couple of coats of epoxy on them, and then we'll go ahead and do some more fiberglass and see how we get on. So yeah, more speedy work, time lapse, enjoy. These better be the best goddamn side panels in the world. I can't remember whether I explained why I need to do this. I think I maybe made an Instagram video about this, but the way that these are printed, I print them like this, and I try to get as quick a print as possible, and I'll try and put the print settings in, but which means that these prints don't take very long at all, like 8-9 hours. But you do suffer a little bit with quality on the bit that's as it's built up. I do it without support material, which means there can be a little bit of, yeah, not very good at the end of it. There's an argument to be made that the time I'm spending to do this, I probably should have spent longer just allowing the print to take place, but having trialed and errored quite a few times with support material, without support material, there's still a lot of dicking around you need to do to get this smooth enough to allow me to want to cast something in it. So I think we're okay now with that. I'm happy enough with that. If you look at these ones, these are ones that I've put resin in already. I've not actually used these since I put resin in them, I don't think. So I'm going to put sand these down with some wet and dry, and then just do another coat of resin for both of them, because for some reason the resin, I don't know if you can see that, it didn't really settle as nicely as I would have liked. So all trial and error again. So let's get some more resin mixed up, pour it in, leave it with a nice surface finish, leave it for a few hours, see what it looks like, and then I don't know if I'll get fiberglass put in here today, probably not by the time I have to head down the road, but it'll be good to get some of this ticked off, so when I come back next week I can say fiberglass set, finish this goddamn mounting thing, and then yeah, get on with moving this build a little bit. I'm optimistic we can get some stuff done in this, some meaningful work done in the next few months. Catch you in a bit. I'll watch, we'll get this, I don't know what resin I'm using, I think it's this one, whatever that is. Oh Rufus, calm down. Shh, Jesus. Man, the postie is so goddamn pathetic here. He's afraid to like come in because Rufus is outside, so he like just gives me the mail to finish off his job that he can't be asked fucking doing. So, oh, I don't want to go upstairs. Dog will bite me. Tiny little dog will bite me. Asshole. Anyway, so these look okay. They did have a little bit too much epoxy on them, so I've kind of run over them again with a brush just to take off the excess. But what I'm going to do is, it looks like there's some air bubbles and drained within them, so I'm just going to use this MAP gas torch just to... You can see those air bubbles disappear. I don't know if you can see it because they're quite small, but let's see how that goes. Let them dry, and then we'll have, hopefully, nice shiny moulds that we can then use for finishing these goddamn side panels. I'll catch up with you in a few days once this is dry and I'm back from my little trip away. Hey guys. Hey guys. So, can't remember where I last left you off. I think I was making this, but it's okay. It's not as good as I would have liked. So I think main reasons being I wasn't able to get a solid enough base at the back. So there's a bit of saggage, big saggage there. So it's nice and light, but I think what I'm going to do, it's pretty strong as well to be fair, but what I'm going to do is bin that, and I've redone this with duct tape this time to give me a much nicer, bit of a stronger mounting area for my fiberglass. And I think all these are dry as well. So quick bit of surface prep, and then I'll probably just go ahead and fiberglass a shitload of stuff. So I'll set time lapse on. Not much to really say here. Just going to see me prepping like usual. I'm interested to see how these work out. There's obviously a nice hair seems to have gotten stuck in there. So fuck knows. We're gonna go and do some fiberglassing. They were really wide lens modes as well. Been away for a few days. Caterham 7, my dad's Caterham 7, which was awesome. So editing that in the background as well, so you can see that somewhere. There's a link. Hopefully I've put my finger out and released it, edited it and everything, so you can have a little look at that. But yeah, just back after a few days away out of the garage, so gonna try and get this done, go away offshore again in about 4 days, so trying to not kill myself out in the garage despite the fact I've got a lot to do. Yeah, 2 yes.
10 freshman Glasgow.
What are you doing? Yes, that's the only reason people actually watch these videos. Is you. Can you come offshore with me next trip, please? You make it go quicker. Oh.
What about me?
Good boy. No, don't eat stones. Oh, what's wrong with you? There we go. What was I saying? Yes, I go offshore in about 4 days. So I got the usual depression kicking in as I live for 3 weeks on a floating platform. So yeah, I'm gonna try and I had a few tasks of things I wanted to get done, mainly surrounding easier tasks like fiberglassing and shit like that. So if I can get this done, then hopefully we'll call that a success, and just need to keep chipping away at this bike. We'll get there. Right, let's get the camera set up and yeah, Speedy Gonzales. Right, probably not best to change your fiberglassing strategy halfway through. I think I made a bit of an error with this when I initially, this is the second time I've done this. Oh fuck, what am I doing? This, oh shit. I'm not convinced this is going to be very good. I think what I should probably do is, when I make this the third time, I'll make it in little sections like I was trying to do. Always a bit of a mad panic when you're fiberglassing and shit starts to go wrong, but I've only also done one side panel. I'm not entirely convinced in this stuff. It goes in really, really thin, and maybe I'm being a complete retard when I'm using it. I'm going to do a little bit of reading the cloth rather than this thick stuff, so I don't really know. We'll see how it goes. I'm going to faff about with that a little bit longer and get cleaned up, and then we'll come back out and see how these set, but I'm not holding out a huge amount of hope. The never-ending saga. I keep leaving little cups of acetone around. It looks like little bits of piss in my garage. It's not, honest. Actually, that looked like it was all right. I did a bit of trimming and everything else, so fingers crossed we've got something decent with that, and this here is okay too. So fiberglass extravaganza. I think what I'll do is, I've just cleaned up, I'll let some of that dry and I'll go have dinner, and then I'll make some more fiberglass. Yay! And then I need to figure out, I'm gonna mount these fucking panels. I love pushing myself until a point that I don't love pushing myself anymore, because I'm unbelievably harsh on myself, and when I don't do the bold things that I say I'm gonna do, it creates a fucking stramash of all kind of madness in my head. So this has taken a while, longer than I would have liked, especially with changing routine and everything else. So once this is done and this is mounted, I am looking forward to moving on to the next part of this build. But this has been a challenge. It'll be worth it in the end, but Jesus Christ, what an absolute ball ache. We'll report back soon. It's much later, probably a month later. And holy shit, it's getting cold in here again. But I wanted to show you, I wanted to tidy up this video, because when I was editing it last night, there was a few bits that I ended up doing off camera just because they were secondary attempts, third attempts. So, I mean, here's an example of all of the side panels and all the iterations. Sorry, I was doing that weird camera thing. Yeah, this is, now I know the best way to do this, for example. So, this is another, we'll come back to this, but we now know chop strand is the best way. Trimming this thing is a complete pain in the arse, in hindsight, because I like this chassis rail to be in the middle. It's the same way I did it with my scrambler, so that when that is built up with a bit of thickness for the seat and everything else, it doesn't completely hang over, it just hangs over slightly, so it's just off center, so you still see some of the chassis rail, what I quite like. There's a bit of tweaking to be done at the back end here to try and tie in this profile here to the end of the seat, and to decide exactly how far this comes. I would maybe cut this a little bit shorter. This is a bit of a feature of the bike, so it'd be a shame not to show it. So there's a bit of a decision to be done there. Likewise, so that was all done using chop strand mat. I didn't get a video of this, but the best way I got, I threw away this stuff. Ah, fucker. This stuff was pretty cheap. Not cheap, the stuff was just pretty thin. It wasn't very good for what I was needing. I think it does have its applications, but not for this seat base. And funnily enough, not for the side panels either. But for the seat base, I used some chop strand mat, and I also cut it into sections around the complex bits rather than just trying to drape it over. I just ended up cutting a few sections. There was like three or four layers in that. And that in itself gave me a much tighter fit around that bit underneath, which I'm quite happy with. So some final adjustments on that, which we'll see in another video, because there's a few bits that I'd quite like to show you that I'd like to go into more detail. I finally have a nice side panel that I'm proud of. the surface finish is brilliant. I'm really happy with it, and yeah, and the way I managed to get that was similar. You can see here, well, you can't see, but I made this all in parts again. So you can see this little video time lapse I took on my phone. It was for Instagram. This is only the footage that I had because again it was another trial. So that was me cutting chop strand mat into various shapes and sizes. A little bit more effort up front, but then it allowed me to just assemble it like a horrible fiberglass assembly kit. And yeah, 3 layers of that, all rolled together nicely to make sure they all meet up nicely with the epoxy resin and everything else. And lo and behold, I've ended up with a really nice one. But again, the trials that I've gone through to get there, I'm really happy now that I've got something. So the next stage is mounting that, and I've been working on ideas in the background. The next video will be the last video on these side panels, I promise you. I am not doing anything else, and I have a good plan for that. So that should hopefully be a bit more smooth running, and we'll get that looked into. So yes, things have changed in the last month. I did end up buying another mudguard. I ended up buying some forks. We'll go into them in more detail. I don't want this episode to be longer than it needs to be. So anyone, if you've managed to make it this long, I appreciate it. It's a long video for me even, so longer for people watching it. So if you are new to the channel and like what you see, please like and subscribe. Leave me a comment, good or bad. If it's bad, I might tell you fuck off, but if it's good and helpful, then or just helpful in the slightest, then by all means fire in. People like to get stuck in the comments, so especially with things like fiberglass, it's obvious that this is new to me, newish to me anyway. So if there's other ways to do it and you have a better idea, then by all means fire on. We can try and implement that for future, or may help someone else out with their build. So until then, I'm gonna clean this shithole again, and I will catch you in the next video. Take it easy, guys.